what truly makes us human are three things: to have great experience, to grow, and to contribute.
So the idea is that you've got certain goals that you want to achieve. In order to achieve those goals, you're like jumping around from self-help book to self-help book, from coaching program to coaching program. At the end of the day, what really counts is to change your self-image.
Well, they want to fix the roof, right? Let's fix the business, let's fix the bank account, and everything works well. Because they think that everything is already working. What I realized out of my life experience is that there always must be a healthy foundation, because without a healthy foundation, no great nation was ever built.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Russ Ruffino. Welcome to the channel. As you know, every video on this channel is us pulling back the curtain and sharing what we learned from 9 figures in high ticket coaching sales. And today we have another awesome interview for you today. And the reason I'm bringing these guys up here is not to brag. It's not to say, you know, how cool we are or whatever, but it's to show you what it looks like to really grow and scale a coaching business that changes the world. So if you want real stories from the trenches, things that you can learn from, ideas that you can swipe, hit that like and subscribe button, because you're absolutely in the right place. So today we have an amazing guy with us, Mr. David Solano. David, how you doing, man?
Hello, Russ. Hello, clients and the Client on Demand community. Thanks for having me here. Amazing.
It's great to have you here, man. Live from Germany. So tell everybody about your offer and the transformation that you do for your clients.
Yes. So who are the people who come to us? They are leading experts, and the pains that they have, they want to lead their field, but they hate their lives. They want to lead their field, but they hate their lives. And so the people that have come to us, they have tested a lot into personal development. They are a couple of problems which they have. Number one is this doubt trap, right? They are in a doubt trap where they buy a lot of stuff, they try a lot of things, but truly internally, and I will come to the one core belief, which in my world basically fixes everything. It's like the master key, this amazing book, The Master Key System. And so those people, they are in this doubt trap, then they are in this personal development hamster wheel, right? Like more. They are just stacking more and more and more. And they have like a control remote like this one. This is from my little boy, right? It's this thing over here. And they are hoping and guessing that some of those things will basically work, right? With this little control remote, they say, next coaching, and next one, and next one. But the problem is that the one core thing which they haven't done is to meet this friend in the back, which is the joker. And everybody has a joker within, which is this silent little voice which tells us, no, don't do it. Wait. Oh, look at Russ here. Is he really a great coach? Right? Like those stupid little things. And it's so difficult sometimes to separate between the real me who's talking with me or the joker, and everything comes basically back to the self-image. And so this is the magic puzzle, right? The master key in which I dive in with people to redesign the self-image through which they operate.
So the idea is that you've got certain goals that you want to achieve, but what's really holding you, and in order to achieve those goals, you're like jumping around from self-help book to self-help book, from coaching program to coaching program. But at the end of the day, what really counts is to change your self-image, because your self-image and your concept of yourself is basically determining what's happening to you in life.
Correct. Exactly that.
Okay. So how do you do that? What does that look like? And then how do you integrate some of you mentioned the joker. I mean, that sounds a little bit like shadow work, right? Like, how do you integrate that into the piece of it?
Yeah. So this is why I love being here, because I'm talking to an expert, right? You heard the joker. It basically is a lot of shadow work, and a lot of people who come into my world, they feel it, right? There is a lived life and there is an unlived life, and what people are looking for, they are like accepting this unlived life. They are like, when I always tell people, hey, look, do you have something within you that feels like when you're going into the water and you have some like balls within you and you want to bump those balls under the water? How good does this work? They say, have you ever tried to pull a ball below the water? What happens? It just snaps back and it always hits. And so what people are doing, they are pushing those balls below the water, below the surface, and this is all this inner resistance. And I have something which I call the house frame, right? Which is something that I would love to share here with you people. And if you imagine basically a house, if you draw a house, right? If you draw a house, there are 5 elements: the bottom, the left wall, the right wall, the left wall, the right ceiling, and the left ceiling. And so I call it the 5 B's. On the bottom, there's the being, so how you are, how you see yourself, stuff like that. All the internal work, there's the being. Then you have on the left side, you have the body, right, which is a crucial part. Then you have on the right side, you have the bond, which are the relationships. And then you can draw it if you want. You can draw a house.
I'm going to draw it so people can see what the hell we're talking about here. And you tell me if I mess it up, right? So on the bottom side,
yeah, of course I will.
You said on the bottom side, you've got the being, right?
Yes, exactly. On the bottom, you have the being.
Okay.
Yeah, then you have, exactly. Then you have the left or right wall. You can choose, which is either the bond or the body.
Okay. So you got the bond on the left side, and then you got
side,
the body on the right side?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you have either left or right ceiling, which is the bank account and the business.
And the business is here?
Yeah, it's just the other side, right? Exactly. So
got it.
And in the middle, you can write down this is the current reality, right? In which people live in, the current reality. Like CR, yes, exactly, current reality. And people who come into my world, they live in this current reality, and there is something which doesn't want them to grow. So the first thing that I take them through is to become aware what type of experiences, and there are 3 main elements. Number 1, what makes us human, what truly makes us human are 3 things: to have great experience, to grow, and to contribute. I think it makes sense, right? To create great experiences, to grow into a person and to develop a skill, and to contribute. So what I ask my people to do is, first, I say, look, what are the experiences that the Joker doesn't want you to experience when it comes to the being? What type of growth does the Joker doesn't want you to do, to go through when it comes to the being? And what type of contribution does the Joker doesn't want you to give to the world, to yourself, and stuff like that? And so those 3 questions all around all 5 domains, this is what we start with, because people come to me and they say, David, oh, please help me. I want to, most of the people, they want to fix the roof, right? Let's fix the business, let's fix the bank account, and everything works well. Because they think that everything is already working. But what I realized out of my life experience is that there always must be a healthy foundation, because without a healthy foundation, no great nation was ever built.
Right. So, okay, so let me just see if I got this right. This is the house, and most people try to start at the top of the house with the bank account, the business, bringing the cash in the door. What you're saying is that everybody needs to start with the being, which is basically their self concept, right?
Yes, exactly.
And how you see yourself, because that is fundamentally the foundation of everything else. Do I have that right?
Correctly, you got it.
You've got a self-image that will support you having achievement in your relationships, in your body, in your business, in your bank account. Then that's how you can begin to up-level those things, because now you've got a self-image that's congruent with what you're trying to accomplish.
There we go. It's exactly that.
That's great. That's really cool. And then so the Joker piece is like, let's go a little deeper on that, because you're talking about what is the improvement that the Joker piece doesn't want you to make, right? But why would it not want you to have more money or have a healthier body or have better relationships? Like where does that self-sabotage come in? Is it like a protection mechanism? It's just trying to protect you from taking risks in those areas, or what is it?
Most of the time it's the life experience. I take my people through a work. I call it the problems that only you can solve. So even if you and me, we do the same stuff. Life trained you in one way, and life trained me in a totally different way. So what does the average coach G.I. Joe does? He says, oh, Russ Rufino's great. Let me just become the next. Let me take a Russ Rufino tattoo. and just stick it on my head, right? And then let's say, oh, no, there's also Taylor Welch, right? And then there is also Taki Moore, right? So let's stick on that. And people are just tattooing themselves with some sticky tattoos, right? Instead of saying, okay, let me understand how what's the mindset that Russell created to develop, to have those experiences, to grow into the person he is as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, and to contribute in the way that he contributes, right? And because it's so more easier to just stick to the middle, just to say, okay, let me copy those things. And when people come to me, most of them, they went through experiences, and this goes back to the life's work. So what I dive deep into, I said, look, what are those limitations? And I always really start with the limitations, right? Because it's like when you go to the gym, so many people, they hire a coach and all of that. And a good friend of mine, a couple of years ago, he gave me a good picture that truly sticks since then in my mind. He said, David, you don't want to guess, you need facts. You don't want to guess, you need facts, right? Especially when it comes to emotional stuff. And you want to know what is like I always say, what's your favorite way to fucking up things? What's your favorite way to fuck up things? This is the first question I ask people. Because when I know how you fuck up things, and then I have some sort of a frame in which I know when you will fuck up things, right? And so, because if I want to build something and I don't know those sabotage mechanisms, which are most of the time unconsciously running within us, then first of all, I need to make people aware, because when you don't know, you don't know, right? I don't want to have a guesswork. I don't want to have hard work. I just want to have a freaking framework. And so this is basically the beginning. And then we truly go through those 5 areas in life, right? We say, okay, take me back. What are some fuck up mechanisms that you love? And I call it the perfect failure mechanism. The perfect failure mechanism, right? There's a mechanism which you have perfected, which always leads to failure, but you don't know which one is on, because they are so molded in together and people don't separate that. I will come in a second to the point. I will just close the loop, because I know you're thinking, okay, give me the meat, give me the heat. And so I take people through that. And when we figured out one area in which they sabotage, we go then deep, and I truly let them ask those questions. And I sent them those exercises, what you just did, what you just roll, and they go through that. And then I ask them, okay, what type of experiences, look back into your life, what type of experience in your being do you would love to do, but you're not doing? Why though? So it's really about figuring out, like, it's truly a dance with people. And people come to me. Recently, there came a client of mine. He's from Denmark, and we're working since 3 years together. And man, it was such a. It moves me, because he was living 27 years with anger, frustration, guilt, shame, and also hatred against his dad. And he always knew that there was something, but he never stepped into. So he called me, and I said, look, man, what you want to know, you want to go to your wife, and you want to ask your wife, explain me my darkest sides. He said, okay, what do I do then? And then she told him how she sees him in his darkest moments, and then he expressed himself, how he sees himself in his darkest moments. So they had like an outline, and then out of this outline, he started to go through those questions, right? Then he had some sort of a phase of an alter negative ego, something like that. And from there, with that, he could build with peace and not with need, right? There was no neediness, because he was so settled and calm within.
Interesting. So how are these clients finding you, David? Like, are you running advertising? What kind of funnel are you running?
Yeah, we have an ad to DM funnel, right? So people are coming to an ad, and we just recently started with somebody you know, which I mentioned, right? and people click on an ad, then they go through the DMs, and then from the DMs, then we put them on. We invite them to a boot camp, which is a 3-day experiences with us, and then from there, they either do an education or they go into a 2-year mastermind with me.
What do you mean by an education? What does that mean?
Yeah, I teach people in. I have an education which goes over 2 years, and I teach people success intuition. So I dig deep into the intuition pieces, right? I made an how you say it, like a curriculum. I don't know how you say it in English. It's an education where yeah, and where people truly learn how the thing with the intuition works, right? So for me in my life, I always felt that there was something. And so I said, okay, I don't want to go into this like normal intuition work, which is so spiritual. I want to use it more specific for success, right? Everything that is related to success. And so I developed that method, and I'm taking people through that.
Got it. So tell us how to do that. What does that look like? Like what, for somebody like me, where I always feel like I make very high quality decisions, but sometimes I talk to people and they're like, well, I just knew, I just had this like, gut feeling that I should do X, Y, Z. And I'm just like, okay, I don't think that's like ever happened to me. Like I literally just like have to completely like think it through and map it out and make the decision that way. So like, what does that look like to access that level of intuition, and
Yeah,
maybe I do, I just don't know it, but in order to consciously do that, how do we
yeah.
access that piece of us?
But this is so good because you had this intuition when you asked me to come here, right? There was something. So
Yeah.
let's take this for an example, right? What was it, if you mind? What was it when you saw that post and you said, "Oh man," and then you reached out? There was something. What was that something that you said? This could be something. Maybe like
Well,
a sense.
you were posting about the success that you've been having, and it seemed like a story that other people would want to hear. So it was a pretty much a no-brainer to say, hey, let's get you on the podcast and we can see, what we can figure out together and what we can share.
So intuition most of the time works out of experiences, right? A lot of people think, oh, intuition is something that is outside of us, but based on your life's work, I don't know how many with how many people you worked already. A lot of people. So intuition is feeded by experiences, but your life's journey, how you developed yourself, how much you take care of yourself, right? How your quality of life is. This is what like sets the healthy foundation for this machine, so-called intuition. And so it's not something that I say, look, you just take this and this will activate your intuition. No, it's this is what I mean, the problem that only you can solve. So your intuition is feeded in a different way than mine. But we got some similar experiences in life, and out of those experiences, your intuition, right? When you're on a call with somebody, you feel something, you have like, let me go in there, let me go in there, let me go in there. And you don't second guess that. You're pretty fast. I think when you coach, you're really, really fast. You say, got it, let's go in there. And
So I guess
intuition,
what I'm saying is that if somebody comes to me and they have a business problem, I can solve that problem right away. Like, and I just
yeah,
know what to do. It's
there we
more like
go.
when I'm trying to make decisions for myself, right? Like
Mhm.
right now, like we have this house, we live up in the mountains. It's this beautiful house, we love it. We're trying to decide, do we want to stay here? Do we want to go somewhere else? Because it's a beautiful place, but we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So as my kids are getting older, like they need more, just better access to like better schools and more advanced programs and stuff. There's like one gym on the whole freaking mountain. You know what I mean? Like it's like there's reasons for us to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should sell this place and go and be somewhere else, right? But trying to make that kind of a decision, I'll search my, I don't know, consciousness to see if I can get some sort of intuitive feeling one way or the
I have
other.
something.
And I just sort of don't get one.
How much can I? It makes so much. How much does it mean to you to sell that place or to move forward?
Well, it's I'm conflicted, right? Because I love the house and we could
Here we
keep the
go.
house and go do what we want to do, but we need to figure out where our main like residence is going to be. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense because when I compare this situation with the business situation, right? In a business situation, there's I don't say that the house doesn't mean to you the same, like the solving, like taking somebody through a transformation in business. But if you think about the power of the intensity and the truly like I must do this, right? Is this truly a necessity? Because what I believe when I come into your world as a potential client, for you, you treat me like you're the surgeon and I'm on this hospital table and I'm dying, right? And I'm dying, and man, I will not let this dude die. No, there is no option that he's gonna die under my fingers. So you have like this Hippocratical oath of saying, no, you will not die, you will have, and there is no possibility that this will not happen. Right? So this necessity is really, really big for you. And when it comes to this house thing, I don't know how big this necessity, this urgency, this standard right now is to truly say, you know what, babe, fuck it, let's sell it. Or fuck it, let's keep it. Or let's keep it and buy something else. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so but that's kind of the opposite of what you hear most of the time, right? So most of the time when you read books and you hear about intuition, what they tell you is that you want to get into a place where you're sort of neutral, right? Where you're detached from the outcome and it doesn't really
Yeah.
matter. And you're kind of like, hey, if it goes this way, cool. If it goes that way, cool. I'm just going to search my soul and then I'll figure out, like, I'll get some sort of clue that I'm supposed to go this way. I'm supposed to go that way, right? But it sounds like what you're saying is that when I'm working with a client, there's some intensity there. It's not my business, but it's their business. But it's like, I really, really, really want to help that person. I'm emotionally invested in helping that person. When it comes to the house, I kind of just like don't care either way. It's a great house, but it's like if we lived somewhere else, we would just move to another great house, like someplace else. So I feel like I am kind of detached about this. But what you're saying is that it's the emotional intensity that actually enables you to access the intuition at a higher level. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, that's the opposite of what you usually hear, right? Because you usually hear like that the intuition comes from a place of when you're detached, then you can get that clarity. But when you're super emotionally invested in something, it's harder to get that level of clarity.
And there comes the self-image piece, right? And there comes the self-image piece. So when your self-image is all over the place, right? When your self-image is all over the place, so because the intuition is like this toolbox, right? It's like this tool thing that you can use, and your self-image is the driving force that says, okay, how do you see yourself? All of that. So if you have a healthy self-image, right? If you have a healthy self-image, then you don't become so attached to so many things. You have your vision, you have your intention, you have a life's work mission, all of that. So everything is basically really neutral. And when then you step in some sort of situations, so you can access your intuition from a like grounded place, like neutral place, right? And so you already have at your level, you already have a really high standard, a really high and a healthy attachment to things, right? You're not anymore about the next car, the next whatever. You're done with that. So you already reached the next level of growth. So for you, it's to create the next client on demand agency, right? It's for you to help people to grow into your legacy. This is what it is for you. It's not to say, hey, I need to read 18 more books to be the smartest guy in the street. You're done with that. So the level on intuition which you use is really pure. Let's say it like that, right? It's really pure. It's not nasty. It's not dirty. It's not immature. And when you can use that, and this is what you basically also see in your results, right? Like people like you, I think you don't need a lot of time to fix somebody's problem because in your system, man, you went through all problems that are, I think, possible in the world, right? When it comes to building a coaching business. So you always can access from that to say, okay, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And this is why I say it all begins with a self-image. It all begins with the self-image. When your self-image is messed, then you don't have the access to the intuition which you could have, right? And this is why I call this success intuition education. It's everything about success, all about more using it in business, more about truly applying it into the money game. Also, this is where I stepped into, right? But this would like expand this talk about so many hours just to give you a little sense. And this is the reason why this is basically not different, but different than what the average book tells out there, right?
That's super cool, David. I mean, that's amazing. Like, it sounds like you've got a really integrated approach to helping people get past their demons and scale things to where they want to go. So it sounds incredibly cool. Where do people go if they want to learn more about this?
Yeah, thanks at first hearing that from your side, right? Which means a lot because just for the listeners, I don't know if I can share it how I stepped into your world. Yeah. So back in 2019, one of your I think what is it, Lions
A Millionaire Alliance
Alliance
clients. Yeah, that
clients?
was,
I think
yeah.
Millionaire Alliance, right? So he hired me as his head of sales, and through that journey, I didn't met you, but I met I met Mark, right? And we spent a couple of time together on calls, and since then I had some sort of connection, and this was back in the journey, and then yeah, I'm still part of your Facebook group, and then when you shared this, and then I saw somebody because people have been talking, oh, success is so big, success takes so long. I said, no, look, I'm German, right? I've been listening to the Clients on Demand podcast, taking my boy through the stroller, using my phone back in 2019, and saying and translating like every 2 minutes. I paused. I said, okay, this sounded smart. What Russ and Mark said. I need to get that, right? So I translated that, and I got this insight. There we have it again, right? I got this insight. I used this insight because I heard something, and I heard it, I used it, I applied it, and then I went back to the podcast, what you said, and then I compared the results I got with the words you and Mark said, and I said, it doesn't match like the energy, so I'll keep on going. So I redefined like an artist my own work, and this was then the moment when I had this conversation with a client, and you mentioned on one call or on one session on the podcast, if you sell, because it's all about high ticket and low ticket, right? And and then you said, look, if you're selling somebody a $49 product, it's just like a little stripe. It's just a transaction. Yeah, like Band-Aid. So you're not there for a transaction, you're there for transformation. And this is what I told my prospect. I said, look, do you want the next transaction, or do you finally want to have a transformation which fits to all 5 areas of your life? He said, I want exactly this. I want exactly this. And so it's not easy, right? But it's simple. It's not easy, but it's
We tell people
simple,
that all the time.
and it's
Like,
all
you're talking about building a business to a certain level. It's it's never going to be easy. And anybody that tells you it's easy is straight up lying to you. So we can't make it easy, but we
true.
can make it simple insofar as like, hey, it's step by step, it's start to finish. This is the game plan that you should follow. But it doesn't mean you're not going to run into problems and challenges as you execute that game plan. And like you mentioned, David, some of those problems and challenges are going to come from yourself. Um, there's a verse in the Bible where
Yes.
it says, "A man's enemies are of his own household," and I think that's what that means. That what really stalls people out is the self-sabotage piece. It's not what's going on in the market. It's not that like Mercury is in retrograde. It's not that Facebook ads are changing, even though they are. Because whatever's going on in the environment is always something you can adapt to, you can change, you can pivot, right? But when that joker's coming up and telling you you can't do this, or when the joker's coming up and making you self-sabotage, That's a tougher thing to deal with because now you're sort of at war with yourself. So one of the things that I always tell people is like, the physical activities that you need to do to start a great business, running a Facebook ad campaign, doing webinars, doing whatever you're doing sales calls, those things are not like physically demanding. It's not like lifting a 400-pound weight or something. It's like that, like you're not that
No,
tough. What
no.
makes it tough is when you are at war with yourself every step of the way.
True. Exactly. It's really that. And what I always said to people, I said, look, if you imagine truly to make it simple for them, I said, look, there's the island where you want to go on the other side. There is this island. If you look about those three little pieces, which I will tell you, you tell me which one must comes first, like to build a bridge to get to your island. Number one, the character. Number two, the competences. And number three, the clarity. So please tell me which of those bridges to arrive at your dream island is already there and which one is missing? And so often, yeah, and so often people like hypnotize themselves. I have everything. I said, I don't think so. If yes, you wouldn't be talking with me. And this is one thing that the one thing that I got from you was to have this fearless coaching, to say, hey, when I say something, it's not about me. I don't mean it with arrogancy. I mean it with clarity, with love, with respect, and out of my fucking life's experiences. Because I went through shit, you went through shit, and you don't want your people on the show to go through the same
Right.
shit.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But what's cool about this is I like that paradigm, character, competence, and clarity. Because if you look at a transformational program, the kind that we help our clients design, it really needs to upgrade people across all three levels, right? So with your character, it's
Yeah.
like your mindset. It's like, what do you believe you're capable of? What do you believe you deserve? What do you believe about the market? What do you believe
Yep.
about your clients? What do you believe about God? What do you believe about money? All of those things are gonna come into play. And then the competence, we have to give them that too. We have to show you this is how you run an ad campaign. This is how you do a webinar. And then we also need to have that clarity where it's like, where are we going? Is your goal to build a 50K a month business, to build a 100K a month business? How many hours a week do you want to work? Like, we have to get clear on where you want to be revenue wise, the kind of people that you want to work with, how much freedom you want, what's the impact you want to make in the world. All of those things need to get clarified. And and then you need to have the mindset to support it and the competence to actually deliver it. So a transformational program will really optimize all three of those dimensions. That's a really cool way of looking at it, David.
Yeah, thank you. And this is basically, then the people come and they say, I never thought about that, right? Because the story, I need to share the story about that if I can. My dad, when I was in school, I was facing an exam, and my dad, he was a school principal, and my dad, he said to me, "How is it going?" Man, I hated school. So my dad being a school principal and me hating school, not a good combination, right? And so my dad, he said, "Look, son, everything that you want, everything that you want, there is a gap between where you are and where you want to go. And everything that you want, you will bridge it with the following three elements: your character, your competences, and your clarity." And since then, I'm using that because he said, "Look," and then he said, "Look, your character when it comes to studying, how is it?" I said, "Shit, I hate it." Right? I don't like it. But he said, "Of course, if you don't like it, you will never use the tools on the level which you could, right? You're just using like 5% of the skill set that you're having." I said, "Exactly." And then he said, "Look, what's the clarity?" I have no clarity. I just want to survive in some way." And then he said, "Look, there's the problem," right? So he said, "Look, now it's up to you." He gave me a hug. He said, "Now make a big boy's decision and decide what you want." That was it, right? And since then, I always use it because it's so simple. it's really simple, and I think because it is so simple, people always say, no, it can't be so simple. It can't be just
It's
those.
always going to be one of those three things, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
And what I really love about this model is that it doesn't give power away to externals. So one of the biggest things that we have to deal with our clients are these beliefs that the external reality has the power to determine what you can do and what you can't do. And they'll say, well, is the market doing this or is the market doing that? You know, will people really, pay $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 to work with me? What if this industry is growing? What if this industry is shrinking? What if the pandemic is going on? What if the Republicans are doing this or the Democrats are doing that or Biden's doing this or Trump is doing that? And the truth is we've been running this business for 12 years. And we've seen success in every season, no matter what's going on. And the reason we do that is because we don't give our power away to externals. You're never going to hear me say, oh, I blew that sale because Mercury's in retrograde, or whatever. You're never going to hear me say that, right? So I think that if you are having struggles in accomplishing whatever it is, you can pretty much chalk it up to one of those three things. It's either your character, where you don't have a self-image that's aligned with where you're trying to go, or your competence, meaning you just don't have the skill yet to achieve it, in which case, okay, great, how can you close that skill gap as fast as possible? Or it's just a clarity piece. You don't even know where you're trying to go, and you don't have a clear understanding of what you need to do to get there. So you don't have that step-by-step game plan. But if you have a step-by-step game plan, and you have a self-image that's aligned with it, and you're learning and acquiring the skills that you need to actually execute that game plan, then I think you're basically unstoppable at that point. So I think that's a really, really cool way of looking at it, David.
True, right? And now when you take all the pieces that I mentioned, if you think back about the house frame, there you have it again, right? Do you have the character when it comes to your body? Do you have the competences to train your body? And do you have the clarity? How do you want to look at your body? Let's take the same thing with relationships. Let's take the same thing with business, and let's take the same thing with your bank account, right? And because so many people, when they come, they say, hey, David, I want to do this in this time. And so many people, they are focused on milestone goals. They say, hey, I want to do 50K per week or 50K per day. I say, good. But what is the thing behind that, right? What is like the goal in the 6th degree behind that? They say, oh, I have never thought about that, right? And they say, oh, I just thought I just want to have 50K, right? Okay, so for so many people, then getting to this 50K, 100K, whatever the number is, or this tangible goal is, it truly becomes a headache because they are running, and they have no fuel behind, right? Which is, I know it's so overused, but the purpose, you know how I mean it when I say it. I'm not like all those other coaches. I truly mean the thing that lights you up. The goal behind the goal, the behind the goal, the behind the goal thing. And when you're connected to that, then the character, then the competences, and then the clarity, everything will get in alignment. And the shortest point to bridge two distances is a straight line. And then you will be able to go through this straight line.
I love that, man. So where can people go if they want to learn more about you, David?
Yes, Instagram, David Solano, or Facebook, and this is where people can go. And I'm looking forward to stay in touch with you, right? And to see where the life brings us.
Awesome,
right?
Man.
So these are the two places.
Well, we'll pop those links in the description of the video, guys. So go ahead and click those, check that out. If you want to develop your own high ticket offers and scale your business where you want it to go, there's another link in the description of this video. You can apply to work with us. And David, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom today. It's been super cool.
Thank you, Russ.
You got it. All right, guys. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.